Joseph,
How are you?
how are you, brother?
Good, good. Is Brian coming right now or?
Yeah, he's here. I just saw him a second here. Why can I never get a straight shot of my ugly mug on any picture?
Is this the correct one?
I believe so, yes.
File?
Is there any way that you can show me how to send it to the,
Oh, yeah, to
send
Michael
it in
Lewis?
and all that, huh?
To Michael Lewis?
Yeah, can you show me?
You wanna do it after the meeting?
After the meeting?
Okay.
I just wanna see it, I do it, so once I get the,
Did you get the file from Sandra?
no, but I,
Was she gonna email it to you?
no,
Oh. See, that's what I was telling you, should have done on my laptop. and
Yeah.
send it to you. So we'll do that today.
yeah, I just wanted to know how you can send it with those, names.
Yeah, so I'll have you log in
Yeah.
from mine, because mine doesn't convert it, yours is, so I don't know why it's doing that.
I don't know, I think because I don't have Excel.
I didn't even know I had. So,
Oh,
I guess I do. I guess it's built into Dell,
is it, yeah?
it's already in here. How's Cassidy, Laura? Yay, is she on vacation? No, she just worked from home. Oh, she's working from home today. Yeah, she was sick a little while ago. Oh my God, I went to that market across the street, the new one, the 99 Ranch. So it's a Chinese market.
That was the best stuff.
It's
I
brand
love,
new.
oh my gosh, wait.
So
I'll
it's
look
right
at
there in Pico, you know where it used to be a it used to be another restaurant, I mean, not restaurant, grocery store. So it's a Chinese grocery, and right now upstairs they have the bao buns, buy two. I love that. Buy two, you get two free, cost me $4.40.
I'm
And they're
literally
big.
gonna go. I'm
Go
literally
upstairs,
gonna
it's a hot food court, they got dumplings are coming, there's a bar up there.
Oh my
It's cool to go
gosh.
for happy hour from here. We could just go to that bar.
Let's do it.
Downstairs, they sell every kind of like something. There's an alcohol department, then there's veggies,
Yeah.
bakery, seafood.
I love.
I know.
that. I love like,
Yeah, look, there's something about there. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Yeah. I think I got the work. Wow, that's a good tip. Yeah. Yes. I know, I'm so glad I had time to stop by there.
eeny meeny.
Hi, Joseph.
I get the good vibes from Jax.
Oh,
Good energy from Jax.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I don't want you to have bad energy.
No, it's good, it's good, it's good.
Oh, Spark.
I know.
I had it for like 3 years.
Love it. I love it.
So I love the like fall and winter.
Laura, get up late.
Oh, okay, I just made it. Thank you.
I know I have Sue.
Thank you for somebody showing up, that's, you know, like that from
Did you
Laura.
say that?
No problem.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just facial.
That
too.
short.
I made,
No. You gotta see it.
fettuccine last night. With, chicken,
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Shrimp.
Yeah. it's
Cut
so
it up.
cute.
Right,
and so I'm gonna have that again today.
nice, nice.
So I didn't wanna eat too much.
Right, right.
Frank, I was telling Laura about the new market that opened there in Vigo, the 99 Ranch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's an Asian grocery store.
Uh-huh. Some of those are the best.
So
Some of
good.
those are super scary and some of them are the best.
That one, very good. There's a bar upstairs and a food court,
So,
so it's like happy hour.
done.
Isn't that fun? When I was in, sorry to cut you off, but when I was in Washington State, this year or last year, the nail shop had an open bar.
Oh,
You can
nice.
buy-
That's amazing.
You can get a drink while you're I'm like tripping.
That's what's, oh, we're recording right here, right?
The best source of what?
I was asking, what's the best source for festivals or expired leads for new agents?
I use Land Voice for my team, Land Voice.
Okay,
But I mean, there's Red X, there's Land Voice, there's a bunch of them out there, so it just really depends.
I think Red X is the best.
Red X?
Yeah, I use Red X. I'm calling all expires, I'm calling physicals.
Red X? I
Yeah,
didn't hear about
Red
that.
X, yeah, I'm calling expires only right now. It's much better.
Oh.
What do you find that different from all the other ones?
Red X and Vortex.
Yeah, like the Vortex or.
I use it
Open Center
because,
or-
I use it because, it helps you not call DNC. I had a bad experience one time calling somebody
On the deals.
on the DNC, so this one is, it protects you not to call anybody on the DNC.
They didn't come after you, did they?
No, I learned that it's better not to call anyone on the DNC.
When that
Well,
happened,
yeah.
were you using a service or?
No, I wasn't using a service.
But you can just say sorry, sometimes they won't come after you.
Well, a lot of those times when they go after you, it's because there's been like relentless aggression going after a person, but like, people make mistakes and you're not gonna get a lawsuit because you did one phone call.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. People-
So,
Yeah, okay,
so it can be a little crazy, so. I'm really shocked, how many people online? How many we got? 5. I'm really shocked, I'm literally gonna give you a blueprint on how to make 6 figures. And there's a bonus at the very end that I didn't tell anybody about because people don't believe me, it's like how to make 7. And this isn't stuff like I'm making up, this is stuff that I put together over the years that I've been here. And that there's a guy doing $1 billion in sales that is using this exact framework. And our team at one point did 40 million in sales, which was commission wise came out to like $893,000. So it was really close to $1 million. But I want to break it down to make it as simple as possible, because I think as real estate agents, what we do is we make things super complicated. We make things just like, it's a big number, like 100,000 grand, $100,000 is a big number, so like, we want it to not be easy. It's easy, like anybody can do it, there's no skill or talent that you need to do this. It's really just comes down to work ethic and consistency of behavior. And so I'm gonna give you that framework, like literally everything you need to say, everything you need to do, step by step by step. And what I want, because I've done this presentation in different iterations so many times, I want you guys to ask me questions in case something's not clear. If something, you don't understand something, or you like, I say it weird or something, ask. Because I wanna make it super clear, we're gonna record this, so other people will be able to, take part in it, we're recording it, right, Laura? Okay, awesome. All right, so follow me on Facebook, it's Frank Bernardo, and follow me on Instagram at FrankBernardo_KW. So those are 2 of the best places to follow me. I have other things, I have a YouTube channel, I have TikTok, I have all that stuff. Those are the 2 most important. If you follow me on there, you'll see the other ones and you can figure it out. So I see we have some people who have not sold homes and some people who have sold homes in here. So sir, have you sold a lot of homes or no?
I've never sold either one of them.
Judy, how about you? How many have you sold?
One for a seller and a buyer.
Okay. And Joseph, nothing yet?
I've made offers, but
You've made offers, okay? And you, ma'am?
No, nothing.
Nothing yet, okay? And I know you're new too. So, all right, but I know, I saw some people online that I saw you guys sold home, so I saw some people on there. All right, so we're gonna go step by step. Okay. I would love to tell you there's a secret sauce. There's a secret button, there's a secret thing, but there isn't. The real important thing to understand here is mindset. Does everybody understand what I say when I say mindset? One of the best examples that I can give you for mindset, do you guys all know who Roger Bannister is in the 4-Minute Mile? Have you guys heard that story? Roger Bannister? So I think it was in the 50s or the 60s. The 4-Minute Mile, which is basically a guy running a mile in under 4 minutes, was considered impossible. By all conventional standards in the world, nobody thought it was possible. This guy trained and trained and trained and trained. Tried a couple times, didn't work out. And then he ended up doing a 4-minute mile, 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And it was a world record. Nobody could believe that he did this phenomenal feat. Then what happened after he did the 4-minute mile, that one time, nobody else in the world did it. After that, within the next year, 24 more people did it. So is that impossible, or is that a mindset that people just chose to believe?
So mine,
Yeah. Over time, because there's not, unless you're an Olympic runner, there's no reason to be doing that, but it's now a standard. And since then, over 1,700 people, I think over 1,800 people have actually been able to do a 4-minute mile. You can physically train yourself to do a 4-minute mile in a very short amount of time now, if that's something you choose to do. My daughter used to run track and she was in soccer, and she came very close to doing that herself at the age of like 16. So mindset is super important. My own personal story about mindset, and I did not realize this until way after I was out of college, but I went to college and I went from being a police officer to being this computer tech guy. And I figured, I'm just gonna get, first of all, police work should not be for me in LA. Because people out here are crazy, I'm gonna shoot somebody. Like, that's just my mindset, right? So I figured at the time, I'm gonna go to school and get a degree. I knew it would be hard. So I went into the counselor and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do this class, this class, this class, this, and this. At this point, I'd read like 12, 13 books on like careers, and I figured out what I wanted to do, and I knew the classes I needed to get. And so I sat in front of the counselor and I literally spelled it out for him on what I wanted to do. He looked me dead in my eye and said, what do you need me for? I went, great. I know you better. I went and signed up. Well, now, looking back, I found he was probably being sarcastic, because I was never told at the age of 30, Frank, this is how you do college. Like, nobody told me that. I had no clue how college worked. I didn't know like 16 units in one semester is a lot. That's a lot, right? I took 34 units in my first semester. And don't get me wrong, it was hard. I literally went to school from like 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock, 5, 6 days a week. Like, I had no breaks. Because in my mind, I was already starting college at 30 years old. I was short on time. I did not know what to do. And I had to get this done quickly. So I was trying to get it done as quickly as I possibly can. Come on in, guys. And so what I did is I maximized my schedule based on the classes that I needed to take. In addition, I sucked at high school. When I was young, I was terrible at school. I didn't even graduate. I got my GED because I got to my junior year of high school and realized this is not for me. This is not going to work. And I, on my own accord, went and got my GED. So, and for everybody that's younger out there, when you go to college, after you get your GED, there's classes you have to take that are high school level because you didn't do them right in high school. And so I had to take 3 or 4 additional like basic math, basic English classes in college to get that degree. But I ended up taking 34 units in my first semester. I ended up taking 32 units in my second semester. I ended up dropping a class in one of my semesters. It was like a C++ computer programming class, and the instructor came up to me afterward and said, "Why did you drop the class?" I was working in between my classes on campus, and I helped them build the computer lab that's there now. And so I was working in the computer lab, literally studying and helping other people out. And my professor came up to me and said, "Why'd you drop the class? You were doing good. I could have helped you." I'm like, "I'm taking 32 units." He just walked out of here. Like, I never talked to him again. He was just like, "I don't know what's wrong with this guy." He just left. So I ended up getting some scholarships to CSUN, which I did not take because I was done with school at this point, taking, I think it was like 65 units in 12 months, something like that. And I ended up graduating in 1 year as an honor graduate with an Associate of Science degree in computer networking. Now, fast forward like a year, I get a job as a computer person, blah, 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 whatever that. I look back at that point and was like, man, after I was told by other people that how crazy that was, because I didn't know how crazy it was, because I didn't really talk about it. I realized the only reason I was able to do that is because nobody told me I couldn't. I didn't have a limiting belief on what was possible. So that's a mindset issue. It's like I knew, so like I tell people, don't get me wrong, that shit was really hard. Like there was points where I was like, I'm not sure if I can do this. But the reason I was able to do it is because the computer aspect of it, the networking aspect of it that I was learning, I was really into it. I was excited about it, and it came easily. So because it came easily, all the hard stuff, like to be 100% transparent, the math, the English, all that stuff, like I'm not, if you ever read my Facebook post, you know I'm not an English major. Because I want to get the information out. I don't care what it looks like when it comes out. My wife even bought me a cup that says like 2, 2, 2, like what the twos mean, like TWO, TOO. I don't know what happened to that mug. Sorry, honey. Don't know what happened to it. But like I'm not an English major. I wanted to get shit done. And so I moved my way through that very quickly. But my whole point in this is that I did what I thought I could do, and I pushed myself to the limits. If somebody would have said, "Frank, you know what? 12 units is a lot," then I would have had something in my mind going, man, I probably shouldn't do 16. I probably shouldn't do 20. Because most of us let what other people say define what we do. When most people are not capable of doing what you want to do, or they already have limited beliefs. So your mindset going into what I'm about to tell you is probably the most important thing out of everything that you do. Because there's agents out there right now that are making hundreds of millions of dollars, billions in sales a year. They're not any smarter than you guys. And you guys have to believe that. And I know this for a fact because I deal with them, I work with them, I see these guys. And I remember when I had to realize, why is that dude doing more business than me? He's an idiot, right? If you've been in this business for any length of time, you're gonna come across that other agent that like he does a crazy amount of business, and what is wrong with him? Right? Sandra knows exactly what I'm talking about. She's been in the business for a while. And when I actually dialed it down, what it came down to and why that guy did more business than me is that he knew more people. I would love to make it super complicated. Like carry the one and divide this, like that's really what it comes down to. He knew more people. Now, if you want to get a little complicated with it, when you look at people that are doing business, their volume, which is like 10 million in sales a year, 100 million in sales a year, their volume comes down to their net worth. Like I'll give you Josh Altman, the Altman brothers, right? Like them, hate them, whatever you want to do. Their volume comes based on their net worth. If they lived in Lancaster, Palmdale, it would not be over $1 billion a year. Just wouldn't. And I'm going to tell you guys how to do all of that and how that works. So first, I want your guys' mindset to be clear and to understand that there's nothing you can't do in this business. The only limiting factor you have in your business is you. Period. Got it? All right. Who talks to you the most? Who's the person that talks to you the most?
Me, myself.
You. That's 100% right. I mean, you're going to talk to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, you're gonna say more things to yourself internally than anyone else will ever say to you on the planet. The problem with that is that a lot of what you say to yourself is negative. Like you look at, oh man, my butt's fat. Like, we've all done that. Ah, looks like I'm pregnant. Like, why do you guys all think I'm on a diet? So I looked at, I'm like, man, I'm like 3 months. Like, I was like, I had to do something about that. So I started eating differently and started doing something differently. But the thing is that we are always saying bad things to ourselves. Oh, my hair is terrible. Oh, that's not good. Oh, you suck at that. Oh, you're terrible, blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's anybody in this room that can probably not relate to that. You have to get rid of that inner voice. And you have to do it in the way that's best for you. I say things out loud when I see things that I think are beautiful, that I think are pretty, that I think I love. Like I say those things out loud because in my mind, I believe that when you talk and when you say things, that's energy and that's vibration that you're putting out there. And as long as you're doing 100% positive things in your life, it'll all come back to you. That's what I believe. You guys can believe whatever you want, but if you don't want to have negative thoughts inside your head, you have to push out positivity. And I learned that coming from a very negative situation personally.
What do you mean push it out? No.
I have to say things. I have to be positive out. I have to help people. So like if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling depressed, the best way to not feel depressed and not to feel bad is to go help somebody else that feels depressed and feel bad. If you don't think I'm right, you go try. Or go play with a puppy, or go play with some kids that are nice kids, not like my kids.
I did it with my dog.
But like, go do something positive for somebody else. Einstein said the only reason we're on this planet is to give back, is to serve, right? And so you can interpret that however you want, but at the end of the day, it's about what you're giving back. If you go out and you give positivity, you will get positivity back, and you'll start to change that inner voice inside of you. But there was a point in time where I had to do it so much to where I would go to sleep with headphones on, listening to positive affirmations. I would wake up and put positive affirmations while I'm in the shower. I would go teach something that was like I did so much crazy stuff because I had so much negative stuff going. I didn't know what else to do. But I'm saying all of this because when you get into this business and you start working at a high level, you're going to hit walls. You're going to hit things that are just going to want to make you quit. It's going to want to make you stop. But you're going to hit those roadblocks because it's worth it. And when you break through that, it's really, really worth it. So you have to be patient with your process. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. What is the most important thing in life? In life, what is the most important thing? I think you know the answer because you've taken my other class, and I'm not going to let you answer. Who else? So you can pick from anything. What is the most important thing? Give me an idea. Somebody else. Go. You've taken my class beforehand.
Time,
Family?
Not family,
time,
not dieting, but
time.
he said it.
I said time,
Not dieting.
I said time.
Time.
Yes.
Time is a very good answer. Time is a very typical answer. Time is wrong. Time is undefeated. You will never defeat time. Gentleman here said he probably heard it in an earlier class. Health is your most important thing on the planet. And why is that?
It's your best asset.
It's your best asset. And our goal here is to last as long as we can possibly last and do as much good as we can possibly do. And if you don't take care of yourself, like, then why are we doing any of this? Why are we all here if you don't want to take care of yourself? If you want to, now I have gotten pushback. I had a very large person in my class one time, larger than anybody here. That's why I'm saying this. And if anybody's very large on Zoom, I really apologize right now. But this comes from a place of love. Is that if you are doing something to yourself that's negative, if you're overeating, if you're smoking, if you've done things bad to yourself, that's because of something that's going on inside of you. And you can stop at any time. You can figure it out. Other people have done it. But the most important thing, if you want to have a long life and you want to help people, because I believe that even though we run businesses here, the most important thing is helping people. And you can't help other people if you don't help yourself first. So if your mind, if your body, and if your life is not in a really, really good place health-wise, then why are we doing any of this? And I truly believe that. I've been on a health journey for most of my entire life. I've been in the military, I've been in martial arts. And right now, I've probably been on the biggest health kick that I've ever been on. And I've learned how to lift super heavy weight, to make myself healthier, to make myself stronger, to feel like when people get old, what happens and how do I fix that? Like, right? Because I know time is undefeated. And my goal is to have 3 numbers on my cake. After those 3 numbers, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. But I want 3 numbers on my cake.
Wow.
I want to see 100. I
Wow.
want to see 100 and I want to be able to do 100 push-ups while I'm 100. We'll see how that goes. Mindset, right? So I want everybody to understand that like you have to take care of yourself and your health is the most important thing that you can possibly do. And if you guys have health questions or health concerns, I have connections and resources for you. I would love to talk to you. I'll go back here. You make your choices and your choices make you. You are what you repeatedly do. So you have to think about that. I read a book that said, oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. But he was like, you get what you deserve and you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Whatever's happened in your life, you are here because of the choices you made, and the best thing you can do is own that. And if you don't want to be where you're at, then today is the day we change it. Right? So, when I started going on this journey, I wanted to explain it to everybody. I wanted to help everybody out as much as I possibly can. So I wanted to try and understand success. I'm getting a little granular on this, but I want everybody to understand the little things that need to happen for you to be successful. Now, you don't have to do all 4 of these things to be successful, but if you do 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 4 or whatever, it's going to determine your level of success. So when I looked up success, has best been defined as conscientiousness. And when you break down conscientiousness, there's 4 pillars to that. There's organization, perfectionism, diligence, and prudence. Organization is basically how well are you organized. This is something I could probably improve at myself. I am one of those people that has an organized mess. And I know where everything's at on my desk. But it could be better. I remember one time my desk was a mess and I left my kids in there, and my oldest kid, I walked out and did something, I came back and she had all my papers stacked in one big huge stack. I was just like, I like had a heart attack. But organization is key. And I always tell people, like, listen, I'll tell you how organized you are by looking at your car. Yep, just heard it. You always hear that. Somebody in the crowd's like, oh Lord. So next is perfectionism. The best definition of perfectionism is double checking yourself. Double check what you do. One of the things, and we'll go back to the cup that my wife gave me that says 2, 2, and 2, like all the 2s on there and theirs and they are, all that stuff, is that one of the most powerful things that I have learned is to reread the email before I send it.
Oh, yeah.
So I wrote it, and then I'm like, and so this, when I go back to reread the email, to me, it's one of the most painful things that I can possibly do. I do not want to do. I'm not a reader. That's why I listen to audiobooks. So I go back and I'll reread it, and like 100% of the time I'll find problems. And I'm like, man, I caught that. There was a text that I almost didn't reread one time. It was like one of the worst texts I could probably have sent. And it's so bad I couldn't even have sent it because the autocorrect corrected to something. I'm like, why would you do that to me? But double checking yourself. So if you ever get into a plane and you listen to the pilot and co-pilot, they'll go airspeed, check. Landing gear, check. Wing speed, check. Like they'll be double checking ourselves. And that's what you should be doing. Everything you do, the offer before you send it, the listing agreement before you print it, like double check yourself, because you will catch things that other people will look badly upon. People like attention to detail when you work with them. And when you start working at a high level in real estate, attention to detail is super important. Diligence. Diligence is best described as hard work. So, in my personal opinion, all of these things are important, but they're not all equal. I think diligence and hard work is 75% of the equation. If you can give me 100% hard work, you will outdo some of these other ones, because guess what? I don't think any of them work as good if you don't apply the hard work. Does that make sense? And then the last thing is prudence. And prudence is the ability to make the right decisions. And what I like to talk about when I say talk about prudence is constant course correction. There's a story which college students put together on making a pot. And they were both tasked with making the best pot, like a little pot, teacup pot thing, the best one that they could possibly make. One said you can only make one pot and you have to make it the best possible pot that you can make. The other one was you need to make as many pots as you can possibly make. Okay, so the one that made the pot the best out of both of those, do you think it's the one that was tasked with making one pot, or the one that was making the most pots they could possibly
Take the
have?
most part.
Why do you think that?
Because they had a chance to correct and fix it.
Absolutely. So they overthought, they took so much time, and by the time they put the one pot together, there was issues with it, there was flaws, there was problems. The other one made all these pots. They made a pot, there was a problem. They went, fixed the problem, fixed the problem, fixed the problem. So the speed at which they were able to do it ended up producing the best pot out of both of them. And when course correction, I had a friend whose husband worked on one, you know those, when you go down on San Pedro and you have those big barges that carry the big things on there, like there's 100 of them, they come from China, right? I had somebody that their husband was the captain of one of those, and I drove it. And I didn't realize how they worked. Do you guys know how those work? So he doesn't sit there and he drives it, right? It's a computer program. And the way the computer program works is that this is the United States, this is the coast right here, coast. And this is China coast, China coast. And the ship is leaving from here. So the ship is supposed to land right here, and what happens is the ship is gonna go this way, but the waves in the ocean push it around. So it's almost impossible for it to go a straight line. So what happens is that it's going this way, but then it makes a course correction, it makes a course correction. The thing is that I make a little course correction that's like that small, like this is the straight line here. If it goes off just a little bit, like an inch, I'm not exaggerating, an inch, you end up in like San Diego, an inch. So when it comes to prudence and perfectionism, it's you have to constantly make course corrections. And when it comes to real estate and business, this is what people do. People are like, I'm gonna make $100,000 this year. And then June comes around and they haven't sold a house. And so what do? Like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna make 50,000. Instead of changing your behavior, they change the goal. Like, it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna, you know what, we're just gonna go to San Diego now. Like, we're just gonna take all this stuff to San Diego. That's where we're going now, right? That's the difference. You have to change, what are you doing right now? Are you making your calls? Are you talking to people? Are you adding people to your database? Are you doing these little things? These are your course corrections. Because if you were at 0 sales in June and your goal was 100,000, is it possible to do $100,000 in real estate and make $100,000 between June and December? Is it?
Yeah.
100%. I did it. We'll get to my story in a second. So you have to choose what your day-to-day is. And sometimes you have to get granular. Like if you come to me and you coach me and you say, hey, listen, this is my goal. It's June, I haven't done anything. I'm going to say, where's your schedule? And I want you to write down in 15-minute increments everything you do during the day. And come back to me in a week. Do you think that's going to change your behavior? Because you're not going to want to say, yeah, I played on my phone for 30 minutes, like watched, Netflix for like 2 hours, and then like, you're not going to want to come back to me and say that. So it's constant course correction. Questions about this? Make sense? Or I'm not going to get too complicated. All right, so list case studies. I didn't make any of this stuff up. This is stuff that I've done and I've helped other people do. So we're going to go back to this handsome young guy in the upper right-hand corner here. So that's me at 34 years old. First year in real estate. I literally had a job fixing computers. I did my degree like I told you earlier, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to be really good at real estate. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read Think and Grow Rich, and I was just like, you know what, I think real estate's for me. So I went to my wife at the time, who was pregnant with our first kid, and I'm like, listen, I want to quit my job and do real estate, I think I'm gonna be really good. And she looked at me and she was like, go for it. It's the only supportive thing she did in that marriage. And I'm not lying. So I literally, like an insane person, like, don't get me wrong, don't do this. Like, whoever's watching, don't do this. I'm insane. I quit my job. I had no buyers and no sellers. And I went into an office and I'm surrounded by all these guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And I put together the worst script ever. And I started making phone calls. And I would call people. I would go, hi, my name is Frank. I'm a real estate agent. I have a buyer looking in your neighborhood. If I can get you the price for a house, would you sell it? No? Okay, click. Hi, my name is Frank. Like, and the room was like this. So all those other top producers could hear me because the way I put together my script is I could hear them. And nobody was like, okay, Frank, you know what? Maybe you should do this instead. Or maybe you should say, nobody was helping. So I just did that. And I don't even really think that I thought something was going to happen. So I'm sitting there one day and I'm like, if I can get you the price for a house, would you sell it? Yes. Can I see your house? Now? Okay, click, holy crap, like, what do I do now? I have somebody that said yes. And so I saw across the room, my friend was in the office and I said, hey, I called this guy, this house. He's like, calm down, man. What's the address? Gave him the address, and put all this stuff together. I had no clue what he was putting together. He was putting together comps, he was putting together listing presentation. He was putting all this stuff together as if we're getting this listing. I had no clue. We jump in the car and we're driving to the house and he looks over at me and he goes, so Frank, like, what do you want to do in real estate? I'm like, listen, man, I just quit my job. My wife is pregnant. Like, if I could make $60,000 a year in real estate, I'd be really, really happy. I swear to God, he looked me dead in my eye and he goes, if I made $60,000 a year in real estate, I would slit my wrist. I was like, all right, that's scary and motivational at the same time. We go on this appointment and we get it. Don't ask me how. Little $535,000 house in Chatsworth, probably worth like 1.2 today. Like,
I no was
joke.
gonna say that was a lot of money
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
It was hard to get those.
Yeah, the average sale price in San Fernando Valley at the time was $325,000. The only thing I can say I did after that is that I hustled my ass off. My first 6 months in real estate, I did $165,000 and I was rookie of the year for the entire LA area. And I say 6 months, but honestly, if you can believe it, it was really 3 because it took me 3 months to get out of my way because what I did in those 3 months, it was like, I got to get my business card right. I got to get the flyer right. I got to get the number. I was trying to figure out how to get all these little things right. And all I really needed to do was pick up the phone and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't do that now because I don't think that's the best way to call. Just call people and say you want to sell your house. That was really bad on my part. I was lucky. But after that, I realized I got a little taste. And I was like, I do have a baby coming. I do have to pay my bills. And so I started working really, really hard. And my first year, I did somewhere around $350,000 to $60,000 or something with my first 12 months. So that was me. I was then given an award, and when I got the award, the owner of the office, that's amazing that you did that. I have 10 new people here, whatever. You did make them do that. And I was like, oh, sure. Do I get any of their commission? Like, and so I did. And the next rookie of the year, her name was Alita Francis, and she did $125,000 on her first 12 months of real estate. She came out of my class. And that's when I realized that if I wanted to be successful, I had to help other people be successful. So if you fast forward to 2020, Eddie up here joined our office, not this office, one of the other offices I was running, and he was like, you know what? I don't want to pay a mentor. I don't want to pay a coach. I want to figure this out on my own. Do you have a plan? I said, we do. I gave him the plan. He came to classes. He did all the things that we asked him to do, sat in the corner, and I knew he was going to be successful. He did $136,000 in his first 12 months in real estate, and he was rookie of the year. He got a little award. When he got his little award, I had his name, I call him David, that's what we call him. David came up to me and said, how much did Eddie do? I go, Eddie did $136,000. He goes, I did 134. So it was the rookie of the year, the runner-up. Rookie of the year and the runner-up in 2020 during the pandemic. So If they can do that during the pandemic, and then if you look at the rookie of the year for 2021, did not come from my office, it came from another sister office that Jerry knows well, because Jerry works in Beverly Hills. But that person in 2021 did over $300,000 in their first 12 months. That's your network. Right? So these are case studies. And
Is there a person up there? Is there an?
no, I didn't, no, it was an Asian lady.
Okay.
I don't remember her name. But on average, like in areas, in different regions or whatever, you get people that are doing $60,000 to $70,000. We had a rookie of the year here, I think last year did about $60,000 to $70,000. Bless you. Excuse me.
Thank you.
So it's close. And the thing is when you get close like that, you're just missing something. You're missing a cog in your plan. Because that's like 2 deals. So when we go to the next slide. Now, keep in mind, I started my career in real estate at 34. So if anybody in here is younger than 34, like you guys have a long, long way to go. So 3 steps. First step is foundation. I cannot iterate this enough. You don't need a lot, but what you get, if you don't do the foundational part, when the market changes, you will go out of business. And I've seen it every year. People go out of business all the time. Because like when short sales happen, I know guys that were doing hundreds of short sales, driving Ferraris, like no joke. Short sales went away, they're not in the business anymore. They're gone. I know a guy driving a Lambo, gone. He ended up trying to take some of his money, buying one of those just junk like franchises, gone. Because he was trying to ride the wave. It's just, you're gonna go out of business when you do that. You need a foundation. And right now, I think the foundation is more valuable than it ever has been because there's another layer to it that has never been there before. Database and CRM. You can make 100 grand. You can be super successful without a database and without a CRM. You can be. It's just, I don't know how long it'll last. I don't just know how long is that going to be sustainable. If you have a team and you have people that are going to join you and grow your team, you're gonna have to have some place for all your people to live. And it needs to be in a database and it needs to be in a CRM. A planner and a calendar. I use both. I use a planner on my phone and I have a calendar on my phone and then I have a paper calendar because I just have this thing inside me that writing things down means a lot. So I like to write things down. I write down my goals twice a day. I have very specific goals. I write them down in the morning and I write them down at night. If I miss it at night, I write them down twice in the morning. It's in my office, I can literally show it to you. And if you go back 5 years, I'd say 99% of all that stuff is either accomplished or I changed it to level up. The other thing is probably the most valuable part that nobody understands, but I do. And I'm here to tell you, I can help you with this, but it's online presence. Why do you think it's online presence? Now, when I say online presence, I mean website, I mean Google, I mean Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of it. You don't have to do all of it. But an online presence is valuable. Does anybody know why?
Marketing yourself.
Well, yeah, you're marketing yourself, but why? But besides marketing yourself, why would you need online presence?
Legitimacy.
Okay. Have you ever searched yourself?
Excuse me, can I have previous picture one more time?
I got it. I got it. Oh, there it is. There. All right. So, have you ever searched yourself? Anybody? Have you? What comes up?
Not very much.
Not very much.
Well,
Is that what you want to come up?
No.
No. What would you have come up if you could have something come up?
That's for real estate agents. I'm a real estate agent where I work at,
Mhm.
or, information, possibly my bio
Yeah.
or who I work for, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Good information.
Yeah. Not nothing.
well, I have some, it's just basic though.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
So what do you think your clients are seeing?
That was
Your
like-
clients are they will search you. They will 100%, even if they're friends or family. If you think you're not in somebody else's database, you are fooling yourself. You are in Zillow's database, you're in a whole bunch of people's database, because you know other realtors, right? And your family knows other realtors. So when somebody's like, oh man, you should use Sandra, Sandra is amazing. They're like, oh yeah, no, we'll give Sandra a call. Sandra Killglass. Right? When you actually can control what shows up on the first page of Google. How do you do that? You have to put out so much content that it doesn't matter what anybody else puts out there or whatever Google thinks of you, that your content is all on the first page. I know this because I did this for myself. I looked at this one day and I'm like, this is back in like 2007. I was playing with Google and I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can control the entire front page of Google when you search my name. And I did, I was able to do it. What people see matters. People, especially in LA, it's very materialistic, it's very superficial. Why do you think Selling Sunset is such a great show? Half of it's fake. More than half of them don't even have licenses. Guess what? Do you know what they get that everybody in this room wants? What's the number one thing number one thing that you guys right now, when I say it, that you would pay thousands of dollars for it if I could get it for you right now this second?
Exposure.
Say it a different way.
Marketing.
Attention.
Attention.
You want attention. You want people's attention. That's what we're all doing here. We do all this stuff. We market, we get our real estate license, we door knock. We want people's attention. That's what online presence does for you. Tracy is so good at social media that we get business from Instagram. People DM us, hey, we want to see that house. Or hey, can you come? Like I remember one time we started to walk the dogs and we get a message, hey, we found you online. We're thinking about selling our house. Can you come by? And it was so generic that we're getting ready to walk and she was gonna walk with me. She's like, she goes, is this fake? Is this a real message? She goes, should I return the phone? I said, you know what, I'll walk the dogs, you go return the phone call or whatever. Walk the dogs, like I'm like walking the dogs really fast. I'm like, we gotta leave. We came back, she's like, yeah, they're over in this area and they want to buy another house and blah, blah, blah. And like, we gotta leave. We ended up selling it, ended up getting them another house. All because they said, we've worked with another agent from out of the area before. We want an agent that's really good in our area. And they searched us. They searched real estate in Santa Clarita. We popped up because that's what we do. So it is super important. The goal is to pull people closer to you. So now, this is the really important part that I need everybody to pay attention to, okay? There was a study done in the 90s about sphere of influence. Now, anybody that says, my sphere of influence doesn't work, you're lying. That's not true. Every team meeting, go back to our YouTube channel with every team meeting to where I go, where did you get that lead from? Where did that buyer come from? Where did that seller come from? 99% of the time, it is sphere of influence. I actually think Tracy and I threw a monkey wrench in there because we do a lot of online leads and we get an online lead every now and then or expired listing every now and then, but the sphere of influence is the way it works. And I'm gonna do it for everybody in the room here so we understand it a little bit better. But you have right here, this is you, right? This is you right here, okay? And then you have circle and a circle. And so right here is like family, right? That's your family, that circle. This is like what I've heard people call the board of directors. Like best friend, right? You have best friends, you have certain people you go to, certain people you ask opinions of, stuff like that, right? That's your board of directors. And then you have, what do I have here? I have network, yeah, network. And then I have community. And then we have audience. And then out here are strangers. right? Out here, outside of the audience is strangers, so. Your board of directors are the people that are closest to you. It's your best friend, it's like your group of friends or guys, and people you go out with that are not family. Most people, when I say sphere of influence, they think of family and that's it. And when they did this study, they were like, you have 5 really close people, and then 15 in your network, and 50, and then 1,500, it says 1,500 over there, 1,500 total people. Now, if I could get 1,500 people in your guys' lives, you're making way more than $100,000 a year. But what I want to do is I want to be realistic and go off of things that we've actually done and that actually work. And this is the goal. And this is why social media is so valuable. These are the 3, like, who is not a social media person in here? Be honest, lying is the devil. Sandra, raise your hand.
No, I'm not.
Are you a social media person? I said, if you're not, raise your hand. If you're not a social media person. Are you?
I mean, I'm on it, I don't like it, but I'm on it.
Right, so you raise your hand, yeah. So I mean, you're not doing a lot to it, right? Are you posting every day?
Well, yeah,
No, but
Alright,
I
raise your
post every now.
Every now
Oh,
and
fine.
I post
Fine.
everything.
Sandra,
So-
what's your handle?
Can you,
Oh, he's gonna, yeah.
Wanna follow you?
Sandra Kyogas.
someone,
You gonna go back one?
He's gonna,
yeah, they-
So
Kielgas.
Yeah. should be Sandra Sells Homes, but that's neither here nor there, because it's easier.
Right.
So listen, you don't have to be a social media influencer guru. You don't have to figure out how to go viral. I went viral. It didn't really do much for me, right? But you have to be on there at some level. So if you're not a huge social media person, if you're literally not posting every day, if you're not consistent in this, you need these 3, period. Yes, there's Twitter. If you're not going to post on it, don't do it. Yes, TikTok's great. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. The worst thing you can do is to get on a platform and do nothing with it, because people will search it, people will find it, and they'll go, oh, wow. Like Joseph hasn't posted on Twitter since 2017. Then all that does is make you look bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you want somebody to say, oh, wow, they just went to Cane's Chicken Fingers last week. I love Cane's. They just went here. Oh my God, that's really cool. The first time I realized this is from an online group that my kids were belonged to. I got a listing lead and I showed up at the front door and I'm like, hey, it's Frank Bernard. She goes, oh, your kids go to this synagogue and blah, 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 blah. I was like, whoa, how do you know that? They're like, I Facebooked you. They went online, they searched me, they literally knew more about me than I knew about them. And I already had the listing because of what they found about me. So if you're like, you know what, I don't like the social medias, I don't like the videos, I don't like, that's fine. But you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for your business. And you should be on Facebook, because when I first got on Facebook, I remember this to the day, the secretary to the owner of the office, I said, hey, are you on Facebook? They're like, how old are you? Because at the time it was something for like 12-year-olds. Now, all the grandmas are on there. It's for grandmas, right? LinkedIn is the business version of social media. It literally looks just like Facebook right now. LinkedIn's not stupid. LinkedIn's like, you know what? Facebook's doing really well. We're just gonna actually copy what they do. It looks exactly like Facebook. Less engagement, but I think the average person on LinkedIn makes about $150,000. Instagram, it's photos. And it's like, honestly, it's the best thing you could possibly be doing for your real estate business. These are the 3 that you need. You should post on these 3 every day. If you need help doing that, what's the next slide? No, okay. You should post on this every day. And I'm gonna tell you,
Every day.
every day. If you really want to know how to do it, I'm gonna tell you 10 posts a day across all 3, 10 posts a day. That's what you should be doing. Stories, posts, photos, everything. Because your clients are searching you, and they're probably searching you when you don't even know it. They're like, I'm thinking about, buying or selling a house. Look up Sandra. look up Trudy. What are they gonna see? If you cannot do this, if you like, I just can't post and follow up with everybody. I know of a service that for like $500, you can hire a full-time social media person to do all of it for you and send you a report. If you want that, come talk to me afterwards and I'll connect you. $500,
A month?
yes. They will literally post every day for you. They will like, they will comment, they will share as if it's you.
Will they put me on the first page as well?
They will do their best.
Who's it?
Huh?
Who's it?
It's a service.
Company.
All right, so let's talk about the science of real estate. What was that?
He can do it himself. Why would he wanna pay somebody $500?
So he can lead generate. His lead generation, that's the important part. But anyway, so there's a science to real estate. And I would love to tell you that it's like a random thing that just happens, but it isn't. And I've seen different people post different things when it comes to this. And this is the science. The average person knows about 300 people. That's just statistics. And statistics have proven that 6% of everybody you know is going to buy, sell, or refer business out when it comes to real estate in the next 12 months. The buy and sell part is like your family and your board of directors people. Like they know you, your best friend knows you, your best friend's going to use you. Because if he doesn't use you, he's not your best friend anymore, right? So those are the people that are going to use the one-on-one. The refer part is where almost every real estate agent on the planet screws it up, except for Shoku. She doesn't screw this up. I know she doesn't screw this up. Every real estate agent on the planet messes this up. And the way that I can best illustrate this is Tracy still on here? She's gonna kill me for telling this story.
I know what we mess it up on. It's the follow-up thing.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is that, Tracy's gonna kill me for telling the story. So Tracy used to be on TV a long time ago, right? And so, she has, she connected with people on the TV show and then she's kept in contact with these people. Well, this person that she's in contact with, I don't know if they've ever used her. I think they might have once. But this one guy who was a 80s rock legend manager, we ended up selling his house. And the way we did that is because this person that has known Tracy for like 25 years talked to this one guy and says, hey, I'm getting a lot of clients, I'm gonna have to move to Nashville. And they're like, hey, if you have to move to Nashville, you gotta call Tracy because she is amazing. And the next thing you know, I'm standing in front of this guy asking him to turn up the music in his open house. I didn't know the guy. Tracy didn't know the guy. But Tracy's connection knew this guy who was the manager of this like rock legend that if I said his name, everybody know who he is. And it's like, hey, you want me guys? He goes, you don't have to turn up the music. Do you want me to have him just sing in the corner? I was like, what? Tracy's like, he was joking. I know, but it's super cool. This one I can probably say out loud. We sold the lighting director to the TV show The Masked Singer. We sold that dude's house in Castaic for like 1.4 million. And we didn't know that guy either. One of our connections, which I would say almost he would be borderline on our border of what we consider board of directors, people that we call and talk to. He contacted us and said, hey, I have a friend who moved to Kansas City, works on The Masked Singer. Should probably talk to him, he's gonna sell his house. We sat in front of him and ended up getting his listing. The refer part is you going to your family and your board of directors and talking to those people so they talk to the people that you don't know and they refer you back to them. We take that for granted. Almost everybody in the real estate industry, except for the people that are doing extremely well, which is right now a very small part. Like I joked about Shoku, but she actually does this. She's very good at it. Richard Schulman, he's very good at it. And then when you talk to these people, they're gonna search you online. What are they gonna find? That's why the social media aspect is so big. This audience out here, that's social media. That's the audience. When you post things, people you don't know are seeing that. Your job is to connect with these people in your audience and then suck them to the center of your universe. So they become part of your network, they become part of your board of directors, and they get closer to you. You have to pull these people in. That's why social media is so important right now. If you do the math based on how many people you know The average person knows 300 people. Who does not know 300 people in this room? Raise your hand right now, lying as devil.
You do.
Okay, everybody does. You just have to go find those people. You're like, I don't want to talk to that person from high school. Doesn't matter. How bad do you want to do business? So I did this, and I'm never going to tell you to do something that I wouldn't do. Is that I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to find people that, so I'm 53. So we're talking 40 some years ago, I was in elementary school. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to find people that I went to elementary school. I want to see if I can do that, because that would be really cool to stand up in front of you guys and tell you this story that I'm about to tell you. I went to classmates.com. It's free. You can pay for it. I literally went back to my elementary school, which was Walter Brackett Elementary, and I started searching through Ms. Gutnick's class. Swear to God, that's her name. And I found somebody, and what I did is I found their name and I went to Facebook, started searching, and I found her. I said, hey, do you remember me? It's Frank. We went to Ms. Gutnick's class, blah, blah, blah. And the lady responded, I remember you because your mom used to bring in these brownies that were amazing. And I was like, how's she doing? She passed away. I was like, oh man, that's crazy that I just did that. So if you don't know 300 people, if you go back through elementary, high school, college, whatever, you can make that 300 people. 6% of 300 is 18. It's my personal belief that every agent on this planet can do 18 deals a year. You're choosing not to because there's all these things that I've said up to this point you just haven't been doing. You're not doing the social media the right way. You're not calling people the right way. You're not doing all these little things. So Facebook, classmates.com. If you're like, you know what, Frank, I tried all of that and it doesn't work. Give me a hobby. Does somebody have a hobby? Give me a hobby.
Tennis.
Tennis. You go to meetup.com. I can guarantee you you'll find a tennis group of people get together or somebody that needs to play tennis. Go out there and you start playing tennis with somebody. Now you have something you can add to your network. Add one person to your network a day, it's 365 in a year. Now you have more than 18 deals a year. I had a coaching client way back in the day that was like, listen, he's like, I want to sell real estate. I want to do this. I don't like blah, blah, blah. Literally everything else that had to do with the business, he didn't like. I go, what do you like? He's like, I like golf. I'm like, great. Where do you like to play? He's like, well, I live in Palm Springs, so like, it's great to play golf out here. I said, great. You go to the golf course as a single, play with a group. After the first 9, start over. He's like, really? I said, yeah. I said, you just gotta get to know all. You're gonna get like 3 or 4 people in that group. Find people who are playing in the place that you want to play have money. They have houses. So increase your network. If you do that once a week, you're going to make a lot of money in real estate. I think he made $500,000 in the next 12 months. He was making about 100,000 or so to begin with, but he made over $500,000 because what he did, his average sale price was 400,000. Well, when you go to a club in Palm Springs, the average sale price goes from 400,000 to $1 million. So he actually sold less homes, but he made more money because he sold bigger homes because his network expanded. Does that make sense? So meetup.com. I increased my network because I like to play soccer. I went out there, I got an open soccer league. I like to play darts. I was on a bowling league when I first came to California, which is when I talk about my story, when I did $100,000 in my first 6 months. Nobody can say, oh, well, I don't have a network. I came from Vegas. I didn't have a network either. I didn't know anybody. I had a family member that bought 5 houses, didn't want to use me. It's called a father-in-law. Like, did not use me. So I did not have a network. I got on a bowling league because I was a decent bowler, and I sold like 9 houses just in the bowling league because people liked me. So you don't
Quick
need.
question,
Yes.
how do you, like my board of directors, you're saying it's my family. How do I make
No,
my?
your family and then your board of directors out there, like whoever your best friend is that's outside the family.
My family will never, like, they will never refer me any,
You don't know
how do
that.
I make them?
You don't make them. So you just have to increase. So if you have, like, let's say, family died in a plane crash, you have no family. Okay, so you have to make this one bigger. You have to make the network bigger. You have to go make other things bigger.
I have a family. who just-
I'm making an example. It's just like, you say you have a family that's not gonna use you. Okay, so they all died in a plane crash, right? I'm sad, sorry. You have to go take your next group, which is your board of directors or your network, you have to make that bigger. This is not like you have to use your family, you have to, no. You can take any one of these. There's people out there that had none of this, they had none of this, they just had an audience because they jumped on social media. There's a woman out there, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was like 12, 13-year-old influencer. She did with the makeup tutorials, right, on YouTube. Crushing it. She was getting paid by YouTube. She becomes 18 and she's like, I wonder if this will translate into real estate. Switched over to real estate, now she's crushing it. All because of the people from YouTube. So there's many ways to do it.
I remember.
It's just harder to do it. And she went through 6 years of her being a kid in YouTube and building up a YouTube channel. If you guys saw my thing that I did on Mr. Beast, it only took him 15 years to get a channel that's worth $1 billion. But it was consistency with task over time. That was the difference. Does that make sense? What are you gonna say?
I remember you told us that your father doesn't work in.
You did not use me, no. 5 houses, like, I told him, don't sell the house in Oxnard, like on the beach, like, don't sell it, I'm gonna get my license. Got my license. Hey, do you still want to sell? Already sold it. What? Who'd you use? Area expert. Area specialist, got it. Come on. Area specialist. Step 2, lead generation. So this is the second part that nobody does. I would love to make it more complicated. I'll give you the framework, and then I'm going to tell you how it really works, okay? The framework is 4, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, all right? That's the conversation you have with people. If you do it right, nobody will know it's a script. You won't sound like you're doing a script. They won't know you're doing a script. But this is how you just have a random conversation with somebody. You talk about them. Nothing up there says, hey, guess what I'm doing? Because if you do it right, they will ask, you want to go back? Oh. Sphere of influence is more than your SOI, what you do every day, the next 6 figures, CRM plus schedule plus consistency. That's all I say. Why do people buy and sell real estate? Does anybody know?
They have a passion for it.
No, wrong. Nice try. Next one. There is a specific amount of reasons why people buy and sell.
Investment, build a nest egg.
Well, so the 2 things that are very obscure is people get rich and people get poor, right? That's 2. But beyond that, people get married, they get divorced, they get a job, they have a baby, their kids leave the house, somebody passes away. There's specific reasons. Nobody wakes up and goes, man, it's gonna sell the house. Or Sandra, let's go to lunch and buy 6 houses. Nobody does that. It's a specific reason. So your job with your network, with all the people in your database, because we've already got to this point, you have a bunch of people in your database, you know where they're at, you tag them all, everybody's ready to go. You have to call them and figure out where they are in that process. I'm gonna call Joseph and say, hey, Joseph, it's Frank. I was just going through my database and I realized I haven't talked to you in like a year. How are you?
Great.
I mean, like, you know, how's the family going?
Terrific.
How's your mom?
It can't be any better.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How's the job? How's everything going with work?
Honestly, I'm very passionate. I love what I do, but get better.
You know, and if you're in a real conversation, what's gonna happen is that when you ask somebody enough about themselves, reciprocity kicks in and they're gonna ask you about you. That's what you're waiting for. You're trying to figure out where is somebody at in the process. The family's going great, okay? Nobody's having a baby, nobody's passed away, like nobody's getting kicked out of the house, like, okay, check, family's great. Job.
Great.
Job is great. Like you're going and you're taking notes and you're putting in your CRM because guess what? You're gonna call them back. And when you call them back, you said, hey, Joseph, we talked last month. I just wanted to follow up. You just inspire me because everything's going so well with you. I just wanted to see how you're doing. Like you can just reference those notes and have another conversation. But it's really, really important. And this is the framework. It spells forward because it spells something we can do like dwarf, you can do whatever. But it doesn't have to be specifically like that. You just want to call and check in as if you're talking to your best friend. Right? Like if I call Jerry, I'm gonna ask him about his kid, his wife, I'm gonna give him a hard time about the Bachelor. Like I'm gonna talk to him about other, like, you know, because that's what's in my notes. Right? And every conversation with everybody you know is gonna be a little bit different. But this is the most important part. Right here. Okay, so I just want to go through this really quick. There's lots of ways to lead generate. There's only one that's undefeated, and that's your sphere of influence. If you want to sit here and tell me I have no sphere of influence, blah, 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 I've already taken care of that. You do. You just have to figure out how to put it together. If you want to do something first, other than sphere of influence, you are making your world way more difficult than it needs to be. If you want to go after expires, you want to go after door knock, like whatever, I don't care. I don't make this stuff up, the world makes it up. Sphere of influence is the king of lead generation. Mailers, so yes, it all works. Yes, it all works at some level. If you want it to work at a high level and you want to get to 100 grand in the next 12 months, you do your sphere of influence. That is the quickest and fastest way to get there. So, I just told you how to talk to everybody. This is the most important part. Follow up. This is the second thing that everybody screws up, like so badly, so badly. So badly. It's really kind of sad. So the way I've done this is that I can draw it right here for you a little bit better. Is that you have the life cycle of a real estate transaction, which is like, this is when somebody buys a house. They buy a house, right? Buy a house right here. This is the lead gen part of it. Lead gen. You're gonna lead gen here. You're gonna get people and put them in your database here, database. All of this right here, that's follow-up. This is super sexy and amazing. This is like, once somebody makes a decision, I think it's a 7-week. It's been studied to be 7 weeks after somebody makes a decision, they buy a house. This is years of follow-up right here. So like this image right here is like that when somebody sells, this is the next day. It's literally going like this, they sell it, next day it comes at the bottom. And then the next slide is, these are follow-ups. After somebody sells, it's follow-up, 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 follow-up. The relationship begins after the sale happens. You can get leads from the people who just sold a house with you. There's a whole review, feedback, all of this stuff that you do. So phone call, email, text, Facebook, pop-by gift, postcard. These are all different follow-up things that you can do. So now, this is the important part. That is probably the most important part out of all of it. If you have people in your database and you're just emailing them, if you're just Facebooking, if you're just texting them, if you're just doing all, that's called spam. If you want to not spam your people, you call them first. The phone call is the #1 thing that you need to do. I don't care what you think. This has been proven. You call someone and you have the conversation with them as if they're your best friend. Not everybody's going to be your best friend, but you can be everybody else's best friend. You call them. They don't answer. You leave them a voicemail. Then you send an email. Then you send a text message. Then you send a Facebook post. Then you send whatever. If you're like, well, man, I just don't know what to do. Like, talk to Jerry. Jerry's got marketing stuff for you. He can help you out. That's why he's here. He's here to like, man, I'll give you door hanger. I will figure this out I'll help you. That's what the vendors are here for. But these are all, so there is no magic formula. The only magic formula is the phone call. And the frequency. So frequency and aggression. You can take aggression however you want to take it. But if it is not aggressive in this day and age with the way social media and everything, everybody who's watching television has like 1 or 2 screens in front of them. It's attention. The way you get attention is that you're gonna call someone and they're not gonna take your phone call, you're gonna leave a voicemail, you're gonna send a follow-up note saying, hey, I just tried to call you, I just wanna touch base to see how you're doing. You're gonna send a Facebook post, you're gonna send a text message, you're gonna send all of these little things. It should be 40+ touches a year for one person. But what's gonna happen is you're going to have a conversation with somebody, you're gonna text with somebody, and then you're going to learn their behavior. You're going to learn how they respond best. Some people, you can do a text message instead of a phone call, but you can't do that until you know that that's the way that person communicates. Because guess what? Even if they respond to a text message better than a phone call, they will appreciate the phone call, and it'll be a touch. Does that make sense? This is the most important part of the entire class. If you're not doing this, I'll give you an example. There's a story of this couple that went to dinner, was with another couple, and they were like, oh yeah, when's the last time you talked to Amy? Like, oh, you know, I talk to Amy all the time. And the other one goes, oh my God, did you know she had cancer? And they're like, what? I didn't know that. Like, oh my God, I don't see anything, because I don't know if she wants anybody to know. Well, the reason that that person didn't know, and the person didn't tell you, because the other person didn't talk to her enough. To be close enough to be within the board of directors, or close enough to let that person know how serious things were in her life, because they weren't talking to them enough. You have to follow up and talk with people. It's not how you feel comfortable. It's just what has to happen. You're like, man, I just called them, that's too much. Not too much. That's what you think is too much. When you're making 6, 7 figures, then you can decide what too much and what too much is. Until you get there, this is the formula. Does that make sense? Questions about this? The only job you have in real estate is relationships. You are not buying houses, you are not selling houses. You have nothing to do with the buying and selling process except facilitating what 2 people want. Your job is to develop and cultivate and grow relationships. If you're lucky, you will have people in your database that are your best clients ever that have never used you. All they do is refer you out to the people they know because they think you're amazing. That's it. So, if you're like, Frank, I don't know how to set up my database. I don't know how to do this. Google it. Search it on YouTube. I tell people that, like, when I was younger, you know, we had a mom and we had a dad. And if we wanted to know how to do something, we'd go to dad and we'd be like, Dad, how do you do that? And Dad would show us how to do it. Or if we had a question, we'd go to Mom. Mom, what about this question? Mom would ask you questions. Who has kids in here? Okay. Do they come and ask you questions, or do they just go to Google? They go to Google.
Money and food, yes.
Yeah, right? And in some cases, like, they're figuring the money part out right now. Or they'll go, like, I'll bet somebody, like, tell my son, I'll be like, did you eat today? He's like, oh yeah, no, I ate. How did you eat? I didn't pay for it. Oh no, it was with my friends. Like, they figure it out. But like, Google is your, YouTube is your dad and Google is your mom. That's the way that works these days. And if you need to know how to do something, like people will come ask me questions, and I mean, hold on, I'll email you. You know what I do? I go back and I Google it, I search it, and then I send you what you could have done just because I want to look like a hero. But I'm telling you, if you don't know how to do something, you don't know how to set up a smart plan, you don't know how to do anything in command, it's a Keller Williams thing, it's all over YouTube. It's so easy to figure out. Repetition is the key. Everybody has a process. You're not going to make $100,000 in 3 months. You may not do it in 4 months. You may not do it in 6 months. You may not do it in 8 months. And somebody might. You have a process. Everybody's network is a little different. The difference maker is how aggressive are you in contacting all of these people. And notice in the conversation that I'm telling everybody, I'm not talking about you're going to call them and talk about real estate. At what point did I ever say, call your people and talk to them about real estate? Talk to them about interest rates. Talk to them about the market. Don't do that. No, excuse my language, know your shit. Because guess what? If they know you're in real estate and you talk to them long enough, it's going to come up. What's going on with all these lawsuit stuff? Like, know your stuff. And if you're young, the more stuff you know and the smarter you are and the smarter you can like just knock out questions and say things, the better you look when you're younger. in today's world. You have YouTubers making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They're super smart kids these days, and if you can show that you are that person as a young person, because I get that question a lot, like, well, I'm so young, nobody's gonna trust me. If you know your shit, they're gonna trust you. Because guess what? There are millionaire teenagers in Beverly Hills right now buying houses. Shoki knows what I'm talking about. Kids buying homes in Beverly Hills. It's insane. Repetition is the key. Once you get your database in order, you can hold events. So once you have your database in order, you're communicating with them, you can hold events, you can do contests. Like Tracy and I had like over 90 people in our house for the holidays doing a pie event. She got like 3 leads. It's crazy. We're doing a contest right now to where like, I'm gonna give $100 to somebody in the room today, by the way, for Amazon gift card. No, she'll push that up to that. She's like, I'm coming for that gift card. But like we're giving away, like we have a contest that we're giving away for people in our database to comment, like, and follow us on our social media. We're giving away like $200. That's like $300 in a couple of days. I should have thought one through. But when you train, so this is the analogy. When you train your body, you get stronger by lifting heavier weights and doing more reps consistently. It creates muscle memory and it makes your muscles grow stronger. It's the same thing with picking up the phone. If you have not picked up the phone very much and you suck, guess what? We all sucked. We all sucked in the beginning. Like Beyonce is amazing. She sucked at one point. She got better by writing songs and singing songs and writing. Every artist that is a Grammy Award winning artist wrote and sang 1,000 songs that you've never heard of before one hit. I'm right about that.
I don't mean to push back, but not Beyonce. She's perfect from day one.
Yeah. That's a true B fan right there.
Don't talk about my girl.
But I mean, but my point is that so we all suck, like everybody on social media that has millions of followers, they all started at zero. We all started at zero. Their stuff got better because they were consistent and they tapped into their niche.
Frank, you mentioned Mr. Beast. My
Yeah.
son's 10, he's a big fan, he wants to be the next Mr. Beast.
Yep.
He told me that it took 7 years for Mr. Beast to get to his first 1,000 followers.
Yep.
He's now got the largest following in the world.
Yep.
And worth a couple $2 billion, but it took 7 years for his first 1,000. And he said that he realized, and it all came with trying to figure out himself. But the thing that really clicked was when he gave back, and that was the video that hit for him. And then now that's what he tries to do in a very big way. So, you know, experiment, embrace the suck, to your point.
Yeah, no, you don't expect to be good right away. Like you're gonna make phone calls, you're gonna get people that they don't like, you get people that mad at you, you're gonna get people that don't call you back. All that, but the thing is that if you keep calling people and talking to them and you're consistent in your behavior, it's gonna pop, it's gonna happen.
I don't know the name, but the guy who got 8 gold medallion on swimming, you know?
Phelps,
Yeah.
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
Exactly. He's right, I mean, he's practicing 7 days a week, 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I said, he's crazy, I'm not trying to do that, I mean, but if you wanna have that kind of thing, you have to pay the price.
Maybe there's people out there that have 1 gold medal and they're happy. Like, and this all comes down to happiness. Like if making $50,000 is what's gonna make you happy, then that's great. This will help you get there too. If you wanna make $1 million, the secret to the million is coming up here in a second. Did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. A couple of things. And going back, I think, to your first conversation, you were talking about the counselor. You're taking 34 units.
Yeah.
And you were talking to him because you're there to get assistance from him, so you didn't listen to him.
Yeah.
So what are you saying to us? We have our own business, we do what we want to do, or should we have listened to what we're being recommended? You know what I mean? Like if we don't see our business going where it wants to go, maybe we need to make a detour and say, okay, I've been doing this wrong, or I haven't gotten the results I want. Maybe I should start listening to my mentor, mentee, whoever,
So,
or and then the other question is, on social media, and I've done this, and I've seen other realtors from other companies, they go on LinkedIn, they go on Facebook, sometimes people, I see one guy, nobody really even responds.
Yep.
But he still does it all
Yep.
the time.
Because somebody's looking. You
Yeah,
don't have to like,
I look.
somebody's looking, yeah.
Yeah, I look. I
So-
finally checked and said like on it.
Right.
but That was
So-
after years. I
So
mean,
if your business is not where you want it to be, go back and see, are you doing all of these things that I'm telling you to do?
Okay.
Because if you take 3 hours a day out of your day, there's 24 hours in a day, right? So if you take 3 out of that, is that an 8? That might be an 8. But take 3 hours out of your day and you call everybody consistently, call 25 people a day. You go back to Richard Schulman, when he came out here, a $300 million producer, he said 25 contacts a day. Do that consistently, and then you do the follow-up plan of 40 touches. He's right back here. Go back. All right. There we go. 40 touches. If you're doing all of this, and you do this for 6 months, and you're not getting any results, the great thing about Keller Williams, the great thing about this office is you have people to help you. You say, this is what I'm doing. And you sit down, because guess what? There might be just like a little tweak. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's this one story of a guy who like, there was this huge conveyor belt thing in this thing that was doing all these packages and it broke. And the guy called it was on the weekend. He's like, I gotta get this fixed. And he calls this guy. The guy shows up. He's like, this is what happened. He's like, okay, gets a screwdriver and he walks over and twists this thing like half a turn. He starts up and it starts going. He goes, that'll be $10,000. He said, what? He goes, I'm paying you $10,000. He goes, no. You're paying me $1,000. The other $9,000 is knowing how to turn that little screw that I just turned and showed up. Right? So you might just need a little tweak.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of times, like if you're calling people every day, you're saying something every day, and you're not getting results,
Yeah.
it's what you're saying or how you're responding. It's only
Yeah, I
those
don't
two
want to keep
things.
knocking my head up on the window, you're not
Mhm.
hitting. I mean, I know the market,
Right.
and that plays a part
Yeah.
too.
But I'll
So
tell you
there's a
this,
lot of-
if you're, let's say you're making a lot of cold calls to whoever, expired listings, NODs or whatever, you're making a lot of phone calls and you're getting 0 response, I'm gonna tell you it's your follow-up. It's your follow-up, because you're not following up enough or the right way.
Okay.
Because guess what? My aggressive is different than your aggressive. But it has to be aggressive. So let's go to, yeah, so you can do shredding events. So when you get into events and you have database together, you can do all these different things. Anything you want, happy hours with your friends, pie event, shredding event, summer block parties. Like there's so many different things you can do, and that just exponentially grows your business. So this is probably the most powerful thing that I can tell you to do right away that will ignite your database. You should create a vendor list. And you're like, Frank, how do I get a vendor list? You already have one. You just have to write it down on paper. So you go into Google Drive and you create a vendor list. You make it nice and snazzy and look great. So, like, where do you get your haircut, Sandra? Who's your hairdresser?
Her name is Virginia, I need to go see.
Put that in your vendor list. That goes in your vendor list. Where do you get your car wash? That goes in your vendor list. Where do you get your oil change? That goes in your vendor list. Where do you buy whatever? That goes in your vendor list. You create a vendor list. And then this is how you grow your vendor list and connect with your database. Are you ready? You're gonna call your database. Sandra's in my database. I go, hey, Sandra, it's Frank with Keller Williams. How are you? I know we haven't talked in a while, but I'm doing this thing to where I'm putting together all these vendors in my database to help everybody out because people are always asking me. So do you know anybody that is helpful to you that I can put on the vendor list to help people? And you're like, and
Yeah,
what if,
that's how
so
you-
if you called your hairdresser and said, hey, I'm putting together a vendor list. Do you know anybody? Oh, well, I know blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. You know what? How long have you been doing hair? I've been doing hair like 10 years. Great. Can I put you on the vendor list? Who's gonna use you then when they come to buy or sell a house? You're on the vendor list and I'm gonna send your information out to everybody else and you're gonna make money from my vendor list. Why wouldn't you use me in real estate, right?
Yes.
That's super easy to do. Lawyers, attorney, like there's so many different things you can put on this vendor list. Tracy gave me this idea and she gets people contacting her all the time and she has a group to where she does updated vendor lists. She's like, I'm updating the vendor list. Does anybody have anybody? Starts all these conversations. It's a super easy way to connect with your database. And then people go like, man, Frank's amazing. Like he's putting all these people on the database. Like They say Frank's amazing, they really say Tracy's amazing, but, I like to throw myself in there every now and then, but honestly, this is how it works, right? We do the pie event, we do all this stuff, we went to the vendor list and we're like, hey, we need some shelving and some paintwork done in our house. The guy came over and he says, you know what, this is what I would normally charge. He goes, but you know what? Because you do the pie event, you do all that stuff in the neighborhood, no charge. I was like, what? No charge? Like, he didn't charge us. You know what that did? That made us refer him more. So and honestly, I really can't even tell you another agent that does the vendor list, and I've talked about this multiple times. This will get you business. All right, insurance person, hair person, birthday person for your kids, like, so let's review. Step one, take your contacts, put them in your database with a solid online presence. I cannot emphasize the online presence enough. It seems like it's something that's like not that important. It is, like, besides you calling them, it's really important. Call them every day consistently. Step two, be consistent. Consistency is the key. The story I tell everybody is that you have a job as a real estate agent. You are your own job right now, unless you're incorporated, you have employees. This is your job, even though you're 1099, right? This is your job, okay? If I gave you a job as a barista at my Starbucks that I bought, and I said, you know what, Sandra, I need you to come to work every day for you to make money and for me to make money, 9 to 5, and I need you to make the best coffee that you can make. You show up Monday and you crush it 9 to 5, and you make the best coffee, everybody loves you, and then you don't show up on Tuesday. You don't show up on Wednesday, and you try to work half a day on Thursday, and then you come in on Friday, you're gonna have a job.
No, definitely not.
The problem is, all real estate agents do that with their business and they expect a different result.
True.
They should be fired. They should fire themselves. The only thing, and this is the thing, when I hire you at Starbucks to make coffee, your first day, are you gonna make amazing coffee?
Yes.
Liar. You're not gonna know how to use the equipment. You're not gonna know where anything's at. You're gonna have to figure it out. It's gonna take a minute for you to get quick and good at what you do. It's the same in this job. You're gonna pick up the phone, your first person you call is not gonna go, oh my God, sell my house. You're like, who are you? Oh, yeah, what, no, bye, click. But this is the process that I'm talking about. You have to be patient. Like, it may take Sandra 2 days to be amazing at making coffee. It may take her a week. If she's consistent in her behavior, she will be amazing in time. Not one person became amazing overnight. It doesn't happen that way. So you have to be consistency. Step 3, follow up frequently and aggressively. Do you want to make 7 figures? You just keep doing that. You rinse and repeat, and you just do it. You grow your database from 300 to 600 to 900 and so on and so forth. That's how Richard Schulman sold 300 million in real estate. If you go back, one of the books that I recommend everybody to read is Sell It Like Sirhan, Ryan Sirhan. He's amazing. If you read his first, Sell It Like Sirhan. Listen to the audiobook because he reads it and he's really funny. But when he talks about his first year in real estate, he made $9,000. 10 years after, he was selling $1 billion a year in New York City. LA is no different than New York. You have Chinese investors here, you have Russian investors there. There's no difference. At the end of the day, it's the consistency and the behavior. And if you go read his book and you go buy all of his courses, he's not going to tell you anything that I just didn't tell you.
Can you spell this name again?
Huh? Ryan S-E-R-H-A-N-T.
S-E-R.
Sell It Like Sirhan. It's a great audiobook. The biggest mistake that we make as real estate agents is we wait for our phone to ring. That lead generation process is called prayer. It doesn't work really well. Because as much as y'all want to think God cares, he doesn't care. We have free will. We're going to choose our own thing.
This last 3 letters of his last name.
S-E-R-H-A-N-T.
And Frank,
Yes.
you know, you reviewing, you said perfectionism, double checking yourself.
Yep.
And I know I was on the other end, I wasn't an agent, I was escrow,
Mhm.
and we had a real estate company on San Vicente, well-established company. And I remember the real estate agent had a big office, and we forgot to have them double check their paperwork.
Yeah.
And she said, I didn't have an opportunity to look at this. And I had dropped it off. We had to go all the way back and take it back and redo them all over again. And I'm just saying, it's like in this industry.
Yep.
It's like, you wanna get that quick sale, but
Yep.
sometimes you wanna have perfection in there and what you do and how you react, you know, that's all I'm just.
So if the average person knows 300 people, right? This is why calling people and talking to people is important. So Jerry's in my sphere of influence, right?
Yes,
They didn't know.
And, you know, Jerry's people that he knows is in my sphere of influence too. But see, Jerry's cousin's sister cheats on his wife. Well, guess what? That dude is out of the sphere of influence because I ain't selling that dude a house. He ain't using me. I'm not using him. He's a jerk. He cheated. Forget that guy. Well, now I only have $299. Does that help my business?
No.
No. Your sphere of influence is going to change whether you like it or not. People are going to pass away. People are going to move. Like, it's all these different dynamics that are going to happen. So you have to constantly grow. That's why you call and talk to people. That's why you add people. That's why you go to meetup.com. That's why you go to Classmates. You have to grow your sphere of influence. The goal is to take this 300 and in a year, make it 400 and make it 600. Grow it as fast as you possibly can. And as you grow it, your business will grow as long as you're talking to these people. The problem is, and this is, and anybody that's been in the business, you're just not talking to enough people that know you, like you, and trust you. If you're calling expired listings every day, if you're calling NODs every day, and you're not getting anything, it's because those people don't know you. They don't like you. Why do they want to talk to you? Your business is going to get where you want it way slower than you do that. Can you get there? You probably, but you're gonna have to figure out a whole bunch of stuff that's really hard. And none of this is super easy. It's simple, it's just not super easy because sometimes like you don't want to show up and you don't want to make the phone calls. But like I've said before, like I go to the gym and I never give 100% when I'm at the gym. Because normally I'm tired, I'm cold, like you know what, I'm in decent shape, like I'll be okay. I don't want to be there, so I might dial it in and like I'll give 75%. There's leg day, guaranteed leg day is 10%. Like I do not want to do leg day. Leg day sucks. So you don't have to give 100%, but you have to show up every day. That's the secret. If you come to me and you say, listen, I've been doing this for so long, I'm not where I want to be, I'm going to tell you, give me your schedule in 15-minute increments for an entire week and then come back and talk to me. And then we'll sit down and I'll tell you exactly what the problem is. What are you saying to the people when you call them? I'll tell you exactly what your problem is. And it's the consistency of the behavior. And if you're consistent, it's almost impossible to not make 6 figures in this business if you do it. Make sense? Question? Oh, all right, last part. This is one long. So don't quit no matter what. So these are my stories about not quitting. I could probably pull up 100 of these. These are the 4 that I like the best. Power is in the consistency. So Mark Ruffalo, you see a picture of Mark. He's the guy that played the Incredible Hulk in the Avenger movies. So this is the funny part of the story because I did not know this until I looked it up. He went on 600 auditions before he got his first movie role. Do you know what his first movie role was?
Was it La Bamba?
It was not in La Bamba. I don't think he was in La Bamba. But he was, it was 600 auditions. So first of all, who would go on 600 auditions before, first of all, I quit way before that. Most people do. He got a movie role on a movie called Mirror, Mirror, Raven's Dance, which happened to be my wife's first movie as well. And he was in the movie with my wife. He was the lead actor. She killed him in the end. Like, what the hell? But 600 auditions. It was wild that I had that connection. Yes.
Is he the one who has a speech problem?
I don't know. He seems to talk okay now. I'm not sure. James Dyson. It's called the Dyson 5000 because it took that many attempts. 5,000. I can't even imagine trying something 5,000 times, like, I'm not that bad at school. Like, that's crazy. Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry started it, I think it was in Atlanta, to where he got a little playhouse, put together a play, and he thought everybody in the world was gonna show up for his play, like 12 people showed up and they were all his family. He did that for 7 years. Have you ever put on a play? I remember the plays I used to be on in elementary school, and those things were like productions, right? So to do it like a real life play and like put it on and market it and do all that stuff and have nobody show up, I don't know how many times I'd be able to do that before I'm just done. Like, this is not for me. I am not the guy to do plays. Took him 7 years to get a hit. Now he has literally one of the largest studios in the world. Like, insane. He's got so much money. 409. I use it every day when my dog poops in the house. 409. It took 409 attempts. That's why it's called 409. There's 1,000 of these, guys. There's thousands of these stories that are like this. Like the KFC guy, he didn't become successful until his like 60s or 70s or something. Like, there's just so many. So there's no reason for you guys to quit. You guys just have to keep it. If you want to do hard things, you have to do hard things to learn how to do hard things. Just gotta do it. It sucks. Trust me. Come to me in the morning and say, hey, you know, do you ever not like doing things? And there's probably something during that day that I don't like to do, and I'll be more than happy to share with you. I'll be honest with you. But if you want to get to $100,000, it's not if, it's when, as long as you're consistent in your behavior. Make sense?
Yeah.
Was any of this helpful today at all?
Yes, sir.
You-
What you don't like to do?
I don't like to go to the gym. I would rather sit on the couch with my dogs and watch, you know, TV or watch The Masked Singer or something like that with my wife. I don't like, but this is the thing, the number one most important thing in the world is my health. I want to be here for a long time. You know, so I have to do that. So I make the choice. I make my choices, and then my choices make me.
Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? All right, guys. I want everybody to give your name to Laura, and I'm going to pick tomorrow who the winner of the $100 Amazon gift card is.
Not today.
I'm gonna do a raffle.
You made me come for nothing.
No. Huh?
There you go.
Okay, so can you put everybody's name on a separate sheet of paper, and then tomorrow we're gonna do the raffle?
Can we all gather around the tree really quick? I just want to do a quick happy holidays video. Can we do that?
Yeah,
Is that cool?
I already made my video. Thank you.
Okay, well, you're very social. No, I move this out of the way. We can